Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. 3 years ago, I started my YouTube journey. I was inexperienced and clueless. Not much has changed since. But anyways, I was inexperienced and clueless. I'd never been to an audio show or an audio meet. I didn't own any gear that cost over $500. My first setup was a topping A30 and D30 stack. And I had monoprice M1060s, which I modded, and some Barodynamic custom studios. I started with that setup on a vision to explore different sound signatures and gear to find that one piece that gave me true enjoyment and a natural, realistic sound. Through the last 3 years, there have been many days full of trial and error, discovery, happiness, jubilation, disappointment, frustration, annoyance, all kinds of adjectives that can be used to describe the emotions through the last 3 years. I learned about target curves, measurements, graphs, terms. I even listened to music that was outside of my preferences, learned to like some stuff and learned that I still didn't like some stuff. Most importantly, I learned that I'm not a fan of the Harman target curve, and it just doesn't sound natural and realistic. I learned that the diffuse field curve sounds more natural and realistic to my ears, and that is what I prefer. I found that the more I searched for that natural and realistic sound in gear, that my preferences were more on the outside looking in. I learned that there's a lot of subjectivity in the audiophile community that they don't want to admit and or accept. I learned how to listen to music critically, but also to enjoy it. I found that very few pieces of gear actually offer a balance of analytical and enjoyable. I learned quickly that if you disagree with the masses, then the masses will scorn you, and they will try with all their might to get you to conform to their beliefs. I learned very quickly that the majority of people claim they want an honest review, but they don't accept one unless it fits their parameters of acceptance. I found that full enjoyment is rarely found, and should be treasured beyond measure when it's discovered. Has the Meze Empyrean given me that full enjoyment to be treasured? Today, we're going to take a look at the Meze Empyrean. I purchased this from Gestalt Audio in Nashville. I paid for it with my own money. I bought it brand new. Meze Empyrean is mine. Several years ago, I heard the Meze Empyrean when I went to my first audio show, Oxpona. And I was blown away by the tonality of it and just the overall presence that it offered. It was something that I had never heard before. And I was enamored by it. And I said, one day I would like to get one of these in for review. Then I started to hear it at a couple other audio meets that I had visited. And the more I heard it, I said, I want to own one. One day I'm going to own the Meze Empyrean. Not only am I going to review it, but I'm going to own it. And so here we are, the Meze Empyrean. Now I'm not going to do a normal review because there's all kinds of reviews on the Meze Empyrean that talk about the different type of technology that's inside it, all the various things that you get in the unboxing experience and how they fit and how they look and all that kind of stuff. I want to give you some thoughts on my experience with the Meze Empyrean. So they come in this really nice aluminum case. And when you open it up, your first experience with them is just the unboxing. And you just see them just sitting there, just beautifully laid in place. And you just have to give credit to Meze for the well thought out case and how it's laid in there. I mean, they just look amazing. Now they come in a couple of different colors, and I chose the black color because I have mostly black behind me, and I'm always drawn to headphones that are of more black and especially carbon fiber. And so I mean, I have the Ether C back here. And so I like that pure black with just a little bit of accents. You do get a second pair of pads And the Alcantara pads are just incredible. And we'll talk about the differences in pads here in a moment. But the things that stood out to me are, number one, the cable. Now, I like the cable, but I hate the cable also. It's nice and long, which I enjoy. I like a longer length in cables. So that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is this number. It's just a little bit on the stiff side. And it's not terrible, but it's not the most supple and soft and flowing cable. There's been worse cables. Full Cal comes to mind. But there's also better cables. And I don't love this cable, but I don't hate it. And then one other thing, when it's plugged into the headphones, it tends to twist a little bit. Takes the same cables inputs as Odyssey. So if you have an Odyssey cable that you like, these could be easily replaced with that. It's not a bad cable, but it's not the shining light that I was kind of hoping to get with a $3,000 headphone. But on the other hand, the headphones themselves are just beautiful. They remind me of something that an automobile company would make, especially a high-end supercar. It's streamlined, has all these little nuances of springs and flows, and just everything just kind of flows together and makes sense. And it's just beautiful to look at. I like the black. I really do. I think it just kind of shows off, but doesn't call attention to itself. And there's that unique hybrid driver. And the pads just pop off. And you can actually see how thin it is. The majority of the thickness and largeness of the Meze Empyrean is the actual pads themselves. The way that the rods just move and just hold everything together, and they just fit on your head and just disappear. I have no problems with comfort. I can wear these for hours on end. I could probably wear these for days without having any issues. They're the perfect weight for me. And they're the good size, go around the ears. Clamp force is just right. Everything about it just says comfort and luxury. Just like a supercar. I love everything about that. Build, comfort, design, the technology inside it. Everything's insane. And I have no problems with $3,000 price tag for all of that. How do they sound? I found that in my searching over the last several years that I'm looking for a natural, realistic sound. I was never able to get that balance between detailed and analytical, but sounding natural and realistic until I heard the Meze. The Empyrean does this insane job of just balancing everything and making it cohesive and sounding lifelike. Everything that I play on the Empyrean, it doesn't matter, from the Beatles to the most complex heavy metal songs, it sounds lifelike. To me, the Empyrean is what the definition of Empyrean is. Heavenly in the sky. And the Empyrean is that. It's a heavenly, natural sound. And I'm blown away every song. As I said, it doesn't matter. Beatles to Metallica and everything in between just sounds incredible on the Empyrean. The bass reaches down deep, but is always controlled. It's never overpowering, and it's not to the point of just being bombastic. But you have enough of that realism. You know when someone is hitting the bass drum. You can feel it for that moment. You can hear it. And then it dissipates until it's hit again. The mids put you there in the moment. It feels like you're being sung to. It feels like you're in the venue, in the arena, in the studio. It's like the vocalists and the musicians are right there. They're present and they're balanced and cohesive within the space. Not too far forward, not too far back, but they're actually right where they should be in the mix. And then the treble is well controlled. It's very smooth. It has a natural energy and sparkle about it. Not too much energy, not too much sparkle, but just the right amount. And as I was searching for a headphone to fit my criteria of what I was looking for, the one thing that I learned how to do was to use my ears out in the real world and to listen to things and to find out exactly what I was hearing and then find a headphone that portrayed it. Now, I've never been to one of the studios where this music was recorded. I've never been to one of the venues or the arenas, at least not that I'm aware of. But I have been to concerts. I have sat on a street and heard cars going by. I have listened at a park as a stream or a river or a lake or the ocean flows. And as people are talking, people are walking their dogs by, dogs are barking, or here around the house, vacuum is running, the heater's running, air conditioner's running, TV's on in another room, things like that. You learn how things sound. And a lot of times in headphones and in gear, details were the focus and they were too presented. And so I was getting all of that when in reality, you don't hear all of those little details. Different factors come into play. And a lot of times the headphones that were really detailed just didn't sound natural because I was getting too much information. And then the headphones that honed in on the actual instruments and the tone and the timbre didn't give me the details and didn't give me the clarity that made things sound realistic. They were too much focused in one area. And the Empyrean gives the balance. The soundstage is crazy how it kind of conforms to whatever the venue that is being played. It can allow my senses and my imagination to say, okay, this is a small venue where a jazz artist is playing. And you feel intimate and you feel close. And the artist feels like they're right there. And everything just is kind of enveloping you. And then you can listen to something that's in bigger, like an arena or a stadium, and you can realize the largeness. And the Empyrean does a great job of expanding out and showing that, and giving you the depth in the instruments. If you're listening to orchestras, you can place the full orchestra and you can seat them and you know exactly where they are. And it's like you're sitting watching the orchestra. The Empyrean puts me in the place of the music. It engages me. It envelops me. And I'm just there to enjoy. I've never had that experience. And I've heard quite a bit of gear. But nothing has ever done it like the Empyrean. There's just a naturalism, a realisticness to the sound of the Empyrean that just takes everything else and sets it aside. And just lets me focus on the music and lets me focus on the moment and enjoy it and truly just forget about everything else. And that's what I was looking for. Everything about the Empyrean, luxury, smooth, natural, and realistic. If you have the opportunity and you have the funds, I highly recommend that you get an Empyrean for that experience of just realism. To me, these are the most realistic and natural sounding headphone. They're not the most technically advanced headphone. You're not going to get all the details forced in your ears like some of the higher end headphones will give you. It's not the most resolving of headphones, but to me, it's the most realistic sounding. If you truly listen with your ears and you listen to what's going on around you, and then you listen with the Empyrean, you will hear natural, realistic music. Ones that just call to you and just engage you. Meze Empyrean. I have found what I was looking for. And what that means is, I said it from the beginning. When I find what I'm looking for, I'm no longer going to review. So the Meze Empyrean is the last headphone I'll ever review on YouTube. My YouTube career comes to an end, and I can't think of a better headphone to end it with. The Meze Empyrean, beautiful to look at and amazing to listen to. But don't worry, you can still find me. I'm still going to do some reviews. I'm going to do written reviews. And I'm going to do written reviews along with Intuit Reviews. So on Intuit Reviews' blog, I will be doing reviews. Check out the links down below for his blog and how you can connect to it. And then be looking in the near future for written reviews from me, the Honest Audiophile. I have no idea what I'll review. All kind of depends on what comes in. But I want to thank everybody who has supported me through these years and who has enjoyed and watched and criticized and done, commented and helped out the channel. Do greatly appreciate everything that you have done for me and how you've helped to grow the channel and help me as a reviewer to learn and grow. And there's nobody better than all you viewers on YouTube. I do greatly appreciate it. But I have found what I'm looking for and what I strived to find. The Meze Empyrean, the most natural and realistic headphone I've ever heard. And they're mine to enjoy every day. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting. And I will catch you in the written reviews shortly. Thanks again, and have yourself a great day.